the shop, friends. A subscriber of mine asked for a tour of my dust collection system, so today I'm going to show you how my system works. I have my dust collector in a closet adjacent to the shop. That's nice because it keeps the noise down when I'm running the system. I bought an older model jet dust collector off of Craigslist for a couple $100 used, and I think that was a good buy. The system is the DC650C. It is a 1 horsepower machine that runs off of 115 volts. I have it connected to the wall with the Long Ranger 3, which is really nice because it allows me to turn the system on when I'm out in the shop without having to come into the closet to do that. I think that the Long Ranger was running around $60 to $80 when I bought it off of Amazon a few years ago. I have the system plumbed with 4-inch flex hose, and then that connects to 4-inch PVC and then runs into the shop. The plumbing comes out of the closet in 2 different places. The plumbing we're looking at now comes down the wall and then goes to my router table and also to my sanding disc. The other 4-inch line coming out of the closet goes along the ceiling, and that plumbs all the other machines in the shop. I built this manifold a few years ago to allow me to run multiple machines off of the system. Right now I have it plumbed to my drill press and then also to a floor sweep system. But I have 2 other valves that are available for other machines in the future. I have the bandsaw, which is plumbed in, and then my thickness planer and miter saw. Adjacent to the closet, I have my router table, which is plumbed in 2 different locations, one of which goes into the router fence and the other goes into the back of the router table, and that allows dust collection from below the router itself. Every machine is attached to a blast gate, and I open the gate prior to using each machine in the shop, and then once I'm done I go ahead and close it. I'm using the PowerTech blast gates. They're 4 inches, and I've had them a few years now and they've actually held up pretty well. I suspect my system is a little undersized, but it seems to do a pretty good job. As you can watch here, it collects dust pretty well. Probably my favorite part of the whole system has been able to sweep dust into the collection chute here. That's my system, guys. I have collected a whole assortment of pieces and parts from when I built the system. I used PVC sewer pipe for the majority of the plumbing because it's cheap. You know, you have to get a lot of different fittings, and 4 inch is what I went with. I have leftover 4-inch hoses and 2-inch hoses for future use. I think the majority of the cost in building a system is in the fittings and in the flex hoses. This stuff is fairly expensive, so I would try to minimize how much of that you have to use. Another big cost is the 4-inch blast gates, as they're probably $8 or $10 a piece on Amazon. I probably have 8 or 10 different blast gates in my system, and they have worked really well. They seem to garner a pretty good seal. I have used some caulk around some of the joints just to minimize air loss. Having the system has definitely decreased the amount of dust in the air in my shop, and it's definitely makes the shop a much more enjoyable place to be. The last point I'd like to discuss is that grounding your system is a highly controversial subject. I have not grounded mine yet, but I'm planning to. I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do that. But I would definitely suggest you look at your owner's manual for your machine to decide how to do that. Well, that's all the time we have today, friends. I hope you enjoyed the tour of my dust collection system. I think you should build one of your own. If you like the content here, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe.